All right, welcome to a Friday Reads, where we talk about what I read, what I'm reading, what I hope to get to next. The first Friday Reads of the month is a little different. That was last week's, where I attempted all of the Nebula shortlist novels. So if you want to know my beginning, first, 9-ish days of the month thoughts, those are over here. And since then, I have read other books, and I am going to talk about what I think I'll start next. Not gonna lie, I've been very bad at focusing on reading, even though I do think I've read more this month than normal. But it's just like, it's not working with the focus level of my brain right now. Part of that is I'm distracted by house stuff. Part of that is it seems to be only audiobooks, so if I can't find an audiobook I like, or if it's a book I want to physically read, it's not going to happen. I did just finish my rewatch of all the Bridgerton stuff, so at least that's not there anymore to distract me, because that was distracting. And also, life be lifing, and the mental health is going burr again, and things are finally calming down. But there are a lot of exciting things happening too, and both the bad and the exciting are distracting. But I've read 2 books since last we spoke, and I'm going to probably finish one within the next couple days. And I do think I'm in the headspace to start an anticipated book of the month. So we will see. I think in general, the TBR is going okay. So first, a book I finished and really liked, and it feels like a very unpopular opinion in my circles, but that is Those Beyond the Wall by Micaiah Johnson. I don't know how shiny this is. It's kind of big. I'm just going to put a picture up. Yeah, because my ring light is shining off of this glossy cover. Okay, so this is the companion novel Continuation in the World from the Space Between Worlds, which came out, I want to say in 2020, maybe 2021. I have a copy of it. I read it. I have a standalone review for that book. I love that book. It was such a strong debut, in my opinion. What we explore with Kara, with this world, with the reveals, I thought it was really well done. And I did not reread The Space Between Worlds before reading this. I do think I see a lot of critiques where it felt like certain character or world things weren't consistent. I didn't notice that, but I say that having not read the first book in many years. So I read this, and there's an author's note at the beginning, and it really does put you in the context that this book was born in the protests of 2020 and 2021 for this author that were happening in the United States because of George Floyd and everything like that. So it comes from a place of anger, of rage, of hating systems and not trusting systems. So it comes from that spot. So I kind of went into the novel prepared for anger. I think that's what I said when I did the TBR too. And even then it didn't, maybe I'm just so jaded and so resigned. I was more just nodding my head along. I was just like, yeah. Like I wasn't really angry. I just felt the catharsis of a lot of the themes. And I really like the main character. I think a lot of people don't like them. And I also will say I immersion read this. Sometimes I did a little physical reading with just my eyes, but I did a lot of it with the audiobook, whether on its own or immersion reading it. And I loved the audio. I loved the narrator, how she acted all the voices. It worked really well for me. And I actually waited to read this for so long to get the audiobook because I listened to a sample of it and I was like, oh, I'm really going to like how she plays the main character, because this is primarily first person for a character. She is a girl, but her name is Mr. Scales, I believe, because like we are now outside the wall. This is called Those Beyond the Wall. So for The Space Between Worlds, we kind of explore a lot of the area, like in the city, we explore outside the wall. And there's just, this world is so interesting. It's such an interesting dystopia, and it's very adjacent to like maybe Mad Max Fury Road at times, where we have these people who have learned to live in this desert area that is very harsh to live in. And I believe one day these people build up these city domes. They don't let the people who are already there into the city domes, and they make this atmosphere, and there's this tension between these two groups of people. So we are outside the walls, really immersed in the culture of those beyond the wall. And you get a little bit of their culture in the first book, I remember, but this time it really felt fleshed out. And I just really liked learning about them and learning about the good and bad parts of their community, and what works for them and what didn't work for them, and seeing it through the eyes of Mr. Scales and her troubled past and what she ended up doing and what she needed redemption for. We still get some of that multiversal stuff that, I mean, I didn't find it to be very hard sci-fi in the first book, personally, but I think I'm a weird person when it comes to multiverse stuff. It's not my favorite thing, and I'm okay if it's hand-waved. Here it was definitely more of a sci-fi story focused on societies and consequences and how to enact change, and the multiverse stuff was there, but it was never truly explained, and you hand-wave a lot of stuff away. So if you don't like that, that's going to be here. But I I really liked following this character, her relationships with people, watching those relationships develop, seeing how this community worked. I was just very invested from beginning to end. Like, I was having a struggle with my reading momentum, and then I picked this book up. And I was like, yeah, I want to be reading this. I want to be doing chores, so I'm listening to the audiobook. I want to sit down and immerse and read this. I will probably read anything Micaiah Johnson writes. Her writing style works for me. I find it very engaging. I really like the flawed, multi-layered versions of her characters. I think they work really well for me. But again, there are many people who typically like books that I like who do not like this book. So don't necessarily take my endorsement as you might like this if you usually like books I like. I don't know why. This seems to be a book that works really well for me, that has not worked for a lot of people, and even the people who have really liked The Space Between Worlds. So I don't know. Really liked it. Another science fiction book that I read recently, and this is for our Patreon book club, is Where Peace is Lost by Valerie Valdez, who wrote Chilling Effect. And I think I can strongly say that this is an author who likes video games and likes to write books that have influences from video games they like. And I haven't read an interview or watched an interview or anything, but if she doesn't play Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't know, it feels a lot like Horizon Zero Dawn at times, which is a selling point for me. Like, it's not carbon copied, especially like plot-wise. It's more vibes. Like, the plot of Horizon Zero Dawn is not in here. Maybe, like, there was one of the cultures that we follow in this world, I kind of was reminded of a culture that you see in Horizon Forbidden West. But it's mostly the techie mechs and the fact that you have this blending, like this sci-fantasy sort of blend. It's mostly just, like, the mechs. Like, there are a lot of mechs here that reminded me a lot of mechs in Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn. That's what came through here. This reminds me of when I read Queen of Blood and things like that from, who was that author? Sarah Beth Durst. A couple years ago, I listened to all 3 of those audiobooks, and I believe at the time, I was just like, these are really solid versions of the tropes that they are, and they're not groundbreaking, but it's tight, and it moves at a good clip, and I was invested, and it was a great time listening to an audiobook. And that's basically my review for this. It's like, we have a reluctant hero, we have a little mentee, we have a group of people coming together who don't necessarily trust themselves, so there are these secrets that we slowly reveal. There's a budding romance as we go on this quest to stop a rampaging machine. And we slowly learn a bit about the world, but it's truly not groundbreaking in terms of characters or themes. You've met these people before. One of the things I liked about it is our main character felt like a mix of Geralt and Aloy for me. Like, I just enjoyed that. And then there was even some cinematic moments that reminded me of things like Captain Marvel. Like this person on the cover. It's just like when this moment happens in the book, I'm just like, that feels like a superhero reveal. So it was comfortable. It's not super, super long for me. It's a standalone thought. You can definitely see how more books could be in this world. It would be easy to do. But the story and conflict of this book is completely resolved. By the end of it, if another book never comes out, you're not going to be like, oh no. Or maybe you would be, because it's kind of like how I've wanted a sequel for Elantris by Brandon Sanderson for like 5 million years. But that book does not require a sequel. Same with this. So this was very fun. I don't have like deep thoughts. I desperately did need something that was easy and engaging, and it was both of those things. And it did kind of remind me that, like, I do like the light adventure style that she brings. Maybe this will push me to continue the Chilling Effect trilogy a bit sooner, because I own all of them and I just haven't gotten to the second book yet. So those are the 2 things I finished. And the next thing that I'll probably finish, because I am pretty close to being done, is The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. I am this far. So is this going to be too shiny? No, this is fine. I'll put up a picture because I held that other book for too long and my arms are tired. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Indian Lake trilogy. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I just want to keep calling it the Jade Daniels trilogy, but that's not its name. And so, if you don't know, My Heart is a Chainsaw. First person, Jade Daniels as a teenager. We jump forward 5 years for Don't Fear the Reaper. And that's a multi-POV story with Jade as one of the POVs. This one's back to just Jade. It's just Jade. And all of them have a little bit of multimedia in it. And the multimedia of this one's kind of interesting. And now we are 4-ish years past. We're in now. Like, it's 2024, I think. Or no, it's 2023. It's fall 2023 in the book. The first book of this whole series is in 2015. Okay, so that's the time we've spanned. Jade is a very different person now. And I actually purposely picked this up because if you remember at the start of this video, I said, mental health be mental healthing, life is lifing. And I'm like, what would be really escapist is if I go hang out with a character who I know his trauma is pretty bad and just like maybe process it with her and like get lost in a slasher and the whole life is unfairness of a slasher. And it's been working. It's been working in a very odd way. I feel like most people's escapism is light and fluffy or stuff like that. But here I'm just like, no, I want to be with a character who like is also very sad and upset and not processing. and that's what I have. That's what I have here. I don't know. My guess, unless something really dramatic happens in this last third, is that this won't be my favorite of the trilogy. And maybe some of that's headspace. Like, I'm enjoying my time. I keep wanting to read it. I don't know if we changed audio narrators. I didn't listen to the audiobook for the second one, but for the first book I listened, and I'll have to check for it with a different audio narrator. And I don't necessarily love the way she voice acts, which is fine, but it means that I'm physically reading it more, and physical reading in my eyes are, like, rough. But I think here, there is still mystery. Like, in all of these slasher books, there's been this kind of mystery of, like, I think I know what's happening, but I don't know why, and I don't know who. Like, there's this, like, kind of weirdness to, like, why is the slasher happening now? That still exists here, because there's a slasher happening. And I think part of it is that I was having Jade be too isolated at the first half of this book. I wanted her to be with people, and I think that's actually always a thing in all of the books. But this one is just significantly more time went by before she was allowed to interact with someone that she's close to in this book. So that's part of it. I think another part of it is that you can feel the trauma everywhere. This town has gone through it, and we're not, like, this is probably the least campy so far. Like, it's the most, why is this still happening-ness of it. So there's, like, a more somber feel to it, and I think it's actually really good. And I think in hindsight, I'd be like, yeah, what else are you going to do with this third book? And, like, I'll see how the ending goes and with the reveals and all of that. And I do love seeing Jade progress as a character. But I think in terms of fun factor, I had more fun with the first two books. And this one is definitely working for me right now in my headspace. But I bet if I had to rank all three books, this would be my least favorite. That's not to say that it won't stick the landing. And I think part of it is, like, I like when there's dialogue, and because Jade has been kind of on her own a little bit a lot of this book, it's like there's less dialogue, there's more musings and references. And sometimes I like the references, but, like, that type of exposition can be kind of exhausting and kind of, like, slow down the momentum of a reading experience for me. So we shall see. But I think I only have, like, 2 hours of it left. According to the audiobook, if I listen to that, probably 3 hours if I physically read, because I know some people, they'll be like, well, if I physically read, I'll read it faster than the audiobook. I'm like, I wish I was you. I am not. That is not who I am. So that's what I've been doing. I should probably pick up Gardens of the Moon again. Maybe if I'm feeling it. We'll see. But what is kind of calling to me, especially after I did my, like, quarter one in review, is getting to Seven Surrenders, which is the second book in the Terra Ignota. But this is, like, only physical reading for me, so I just need to, like, see if I have that, like, headspace. Another thing I've done, and I don't know if I'll do anything with it, I might have just checked the book out of the library just to see if I'm in the mood and it happens, but I've been curious about trying out Grace Draven for a while. I think she's known for a lot of fantasy romances, and I wanted to try out her style, see if I liked it, so I did get the Beauty and the Beast retelling by her. Like, I have that on my Kindle right now, so I could read that potentially. I'm on hold for years for, like, the new Abby Jimenez, so that's probably not happening anytime soon, if I'm being honest. And, like, I have a lot of other books just, like, hanging around on my Kindle that I might get to, maybe some Hugo books or stuff like that. I have a lot of novellas that I could pick up if I'm in the mood. In particular, I have, like, The Crane Husband. I think I have Mammoth at the Gate. It's just a matter of, like, do I want those to be my audiobooks or not? And who knows, maybe I'll just, like, I know I said I would do it in May. Maybe I'll read the third book in the Inheritance trilogy. These are my general vibes as I get towards the end of the month. But I'm also very tempted to just go play video games and rewatch some trashy movies that got me through stuff when I was a kid. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like, I'm doing okay today. Today is a better day, but this past week it's been a lot. Just so much. I'm hoping all of you are having good vibes, or at least good coping mechanisms for whatever the world's putting you through. I'm at least enjoying my yard. That's when a lot of my audiobook time happens right now, is like I'm learning how to maintain a yard, because like, I guess if you don't own a house, maybe you don't know this, but most neighborhoods, there's a certain limit to how tall your grass is allowed to grow. So I'm learning how to handle that, because growing up, we always just paid for it because my yard was kind of long and my mom didn't want to deal with it. And my dad couldn't have done it. So now I have my mower and my weed whacker, and my mower is like one of those old fashioned push mowers that doesn't have like electricity or gas or anything. And like, so I had to sharpen it. It's been fun. It's been fun. So that's been very cathartic and enjoyable to me. And that's why I listen to a lot of audiobooks right now, because it's just like picking up sticks and doing things like that. It's like very good, mindless work while I'm outside and, can see the dogs, wave at the neighbors, all that stuff. All right. If you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here. Let's do a snake for those beyond the wall, because the snake is kind of in reference to Mr. Scales, I believe. A snake or a lizard, you can choose. Because I still really liked this book. Like, I still think this book is great. I'm excited to put it on my shelf, like right over here by the Space Between Worlds, which is probably objectively a better cover. If I look at them side by side, yeah, they're actually completely different art styles. I don't think this one's necessarily like that atrocious, but it's a very different art style from this, if you want to see them side by side. So I like the color palette of this more, and I like that it's more flowy and less angular, but this is more angular. But I mean, spine to spine, looks pretty okay. It's fine. All right, that's it for this one. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.